Let me ask you something personal. What if the one being in your life who loves you unconditionally, the one who watches the door for hours just waiting for you to come home, the one who forgives you every single time without exception, what if that same being secretly felt confused, anxious, and even rejected because of things you do every single day without even realizing it? That is not a dramatic hypothetical. For millions of dogs living in loving homes right now, that is their daily reality. And here is the hardest part, their owners adore them. They buy them the best food, the comfiest beds, the fanciest toys. They consider their dogs family. And yet, because dogs and humans speak fundamentally different emotional languages, even the most devoted owners are sending signals their dogs experience as cold, unpredictable, or even frightening. Today we are going to talk about that gap. We're going to walk through the most common mistakes dog owners make that quietly erode their dog's sense of safety and belonging, and we are going to explain what your dog actually needs in order to feel deeply, genuinely loved. Because here is the truth that changes everything: dogs do not experience love the way we do. They do not feel it through grand gestures or expensive gifts. Dogs feel love through clarity, through safety, and through consistent, engaged presence. Keep that in mind as we go through each of these, because it reframes everything. Let's start with what is probably the single most destructive thing you can do to your relationship with your dog, and it is so ordinary that most people never even think of it as a problem. It is inconsistency in your rules. Picture this. On Monday, your dog jumps up on the couch, curls up next to you, and you smile and let it happen because you are tired and it feels nice. On Tuesday, you have guests over and you scold your dog for jumping on that exact same couch. From your perspective, the context changed. From your dog's perspective, the rules themselves change without warning, and that is a completely different thing. Dogs are not wired to understand situational nuance the way we are. They are wired to find patterns, to learn what is safe and what is not safe, and to build their entire sense of security around those patterns. When the rules shift unpredictably, that security crumbles. What you end up with is a dog that is perpetually anxious, watching your face for clues, never fully relaxed, never fully confident, because they have learned that the ground beneath them can shift at any moment. That is not a behavioral problem. That is a trust problem. And it is entirely fixable. Pick your rules, make them clear, make them consistent, and hold to them every single time, not just when it is convenient. Your dog will thank you in ways you can see: in a calmer body, a more relaxed face, and a tail that wags from a place of genuine ease rather than nervous anticipation. Now let's talk about something that is going to be a little uncomfortable to hear, because most of us grew up thinking this was one of the sweetest things you could do. Let's talk about hugging your dog. Humans are huggers. We hug people we love, we hug people we haven't seen in a while, we hug people when they are sad. Hugging is so deeply wired into us as a form of affection that it feels almost instinctive to wrap our arms around our dogs when we want them to know we love them. But here is what your dog is actually experiencing in that moment. In canine body language, placing a limb over another animal's neck or back is a dominance signal. It is something dogs do to establish control, or something they experience as a precursor to conflict. When you hug your dog, even with the purest, most loving intentions, many dogs experience it as being trapped. Their instinct is to get away, but their loyalty to you keeps them still. If you watch closely, and I mean really watch, you will often see the signs. The slight stiffening of the body. The ears pinning back. The whites of the eyes becoming visible. The tongue flicking. The yawn that comes out of nowhere. These are all stress signals, and they are your dog saying, as clearly as they can without words, "Please let me go." This does not mean you cannot be physically affectionate with your dog. Absolutely you can and should be. But trade the full-body hug for a gentle scratch behind the ears, a soft stroke along the back, or simply leaning your body weight gently against them. Many dogs absolutely love that kind of contact. It is closeness on their terms, and that makes all the difference. Speaking of presence, let's move to one of the quietest mistakes on this list, and in some ways one of the most painful, for your dog, anyway. It is what we might call physical presence with emotional absence. Here is the scene. You come home after a long day, you sit down on the couch, your dog comes over and lies down near your feet or at your side, and you spend the next 2 hours scrolling through your phone or watching television. You are there. You are in the room, but you are completely gone. For a pack animal, and dogs are profoundly pack animals, being near the members of their family is not just comfort, it is everything. Their entire social and emotional world is built around connection with the group. So when they are near you and you are unresponsive, locked into a screen, absent in every way that matters to them, it registers in their nervous system the way the silent treatment registers in ours. They feel the closeness that should mean safety, but the signals of engagement are not there. Over time, this creates a kind of dull, low-grade sadness in dogs, a withdrawal, a drop in energy, a loss of spark. The fix is so simple it almost feels too easy. Put the phone down for 15 minutes. Get on the floor with your dog, make eye contact. Talk to them in that soft voice you probably already use when no one else is listening. Those 15 minutes of real, unplugged presence will do more for your dog's emotional health than an entire week of being in the same room. Now let's talk about something that trips up a lot of well-meaning owners, especially when a dog has done something genuinely destructive or dangerous. It is using the crate as punishment. Crate training, done correctly, is one of the most loving things you can do for a dog. A properly introduced crate becomes their bedroom, their den, their personal sanctuary, the one place in the world that is entirely theirs, where they can rest without being disturbed and feel genuinely safe. But the moment you start using that crate as a consequence, the moment you point to it and say get in there after something goes wrong, you have fundamentally changed what that space means to your dog. You have taken their bedroom and turned it into a jail cell. And the effect goes deeper than just the crate. Now your dog has no safe space. Nowhere in their environment is guaranteed to feel like relief. Everywhere holds the potential for something to go wrong. That is a heavy thing for a dog to carry. If your dog has chewed something, or had an accident, or snapped at a guest, the crate is not the answer in that moment. Calmly remove them from the situation, address the behavior through training at a later time, and let the crate remain the one place in your home that is always, unconditionally, a good place to be. Let's shift gears and address one of the most common myths in dog ownership, and it is one that costs dogs so much more than most people realize. The myth that a backyard is a substitute for a walk. If your dog has access to a yard, you might feel like they have everything they need. They can run, they can sniff around, they can lie in the sun. And that is all wonderful. But it is not a walk, and here is why. Walks are not primarily about exercise, though exercise matters. Walks are about mental stimulation. When your dog is out in the world, nose to the ground, reading the invisible newspaper of scents left behind by every other animal that has passed through, they are deeply, completely engaged. Their brain is lit up. They are gathering information, processing their environment, and feeling like an active participant in the world rather than a passive observer stuck behind a fence. A dog who is confined only to their backyard, day after day, is not a relaxed dog. They are a bored dog. And boredom in dogs does not stay quiet for long. It comes out as destructive chewing, excessive barking, fence running, or just a kind of deflated, despondent energy that is hard to watch once you recognize it for what it is. Take your dog on a real walk. Let them set the pace when it is safe to do so. Let them stop and sniff. That sniffing is not them being slow or distracted, that is them doing the thing that makes them feel most alive. Now here is one that catches people completely off guard. Most dog owners know that licking is a sign of affection. Dogs lick the faces and hands of the animals and people they love and trust. It is one of the most clear, consistent signals in canine communication. But a huge number of people, when their dog licks them, recoil. They pull away, they wipe their face dramatically, they say "Ugh," gross in a tone that makes their distaste completely clear. And your dog reads that response. They read it as rejection. They tried to tell you they loved you, in the most direct way they know how, and you responded with disgust. Do that consistently enough and you will see your dog slowly stop initiating affection altogether. If licking genuinely bothers you, and that is completely valid, the answer is a gentle redirect, not a visible recoil. Offer your hand, move calmly away, give them something else to do. But protect that dog's dignity. Do not let them feel foolish for loving you. Let's talk about public scolding, because this one has consequences that extend far beyond the moment itself. You are at the park. Your dog runs over to another dog or barks at a passing bicycle or pulls toward a stranger, and you raise your voice. You might even go full lecture mode, standing over them, frustrated, repeating their names sternly. Here is the thing, your dog is already completely overwhelmed. They are in a high-stimulation environment full of smells and sounds and movement, and their nervous system is running at full capacity just trying to take it all in. Layering your frustration and raised voice on top of all of that does not teach them anything. It adds to the chaos. It creates a negative association with outdoor spaces, with other dogs, with you being nearby when they are already stressed. It erodes trust without providing any useful information about what you actually want them to do instead. The most effective thing you can do in that moment is stay calm, move your dog away from the trigger, give them a moment to decompress, and save the actual training for a quieter environment where their brain has the bandwidth to learn. Calm leadership in moments of chaos, that is what your dog needs from you. That is what makes them feel safe. Let's talk about something that sounds almost too simple, but it is one of the most powerful tools you have. And most owners are doing the exact opposite of it. Let's talk about praise, specifically, the lack of it. Think about how much attention you give your dog when they are misbehaving. The scolding, the stern voice, the correction. Now think about how much attention you give them when they are lying quietly in their bed, or sitting calmly while you have guests over, or coming to you when called. If you are like most dog owners, the honest answer is, not much. You notice the behavior you want to stop, and you ignore the behavior you want to see more of. But for your dog, your attention and your enthusiasm are currency. When you catch your dog doing something right, and I mean really catch it, pause what you are doing, look at them, use your warmest voice, maybe get down to their level, you are filling their emotional bank account. You are telling them that thing you just did, I love it, do more of that. Praise is not just positive reinforcement in a training sense. It is also an act of love that your dog genuinely feels. It makes them feel seen. It makes them feel successful. A dog who hears praise regularly carries themselves differently, more confident, more relaxed, more deeply bonded to you. Now we need to talk about something that is genuinely difficult for a lot of modern dog owners, because life is demanding and schedules are real. Let's talk about long periods of isolation. Dogs are biologically wired for near constant social contact. In the wild, a dog alone for 10 to 12 hours a day would not be a dog left home for work, it would be a dog that had been abandoned by its pack. That distinction matters, because your dog's nervous system does not know the difference between those two things. When dogs experience chronic, long-term isolation, they do not simply wait patiently and pop back to normal when you come home. They go through a process that animal behaviorists have compared to a kind of learned helplessness, a gradual shutdown of engagement in hope that, in its most serious form, looks a lot like depression. If your work schedule requires you to be away for long stretches, that is okay, but your dog needs a bridge. A midday walker. A doggy daycare a few days a week. A trusted neighbor who can stop in. These are not luxuries for your dog. They are necessities for their mental health. And the investment you make in that support will come back to you in the form of a dog who is happier, healthier, and more emotionally present when you are home. Finally, let's talk about one-sided affection, and this is a subtle one, but it matters enormously. How often do you reach for your dog when you need comfort, when you are stressed, when you are sad, when you just want something warm to hold, but then, when your dog walks over to you with their own need for connection, you push them away because you are busy, or tired, or distracted? Dogs notice patterns. In a relationship where contact is always on your terms, where you reach for them when it is good for you and redirect them when it is not, starts to feel less like a partnership and more like something else. Think about how you would feel in a relationship like that. It would not take long before you started to feel, even if you could not put words to it, that your needs did not matter quite as much. Your dog feels something similar. That does not mean you need to drop everything every time your dog wants a pat. But it does mean being aware of whose needs are driving the interaction, and making sure your dog gets to initiate connection sometimes too. Let them come to you. Let them rest their head in your lap on their schedule, not just yours. Let them feel like a full participant in the relationship, not just a source of comfort you tap when needed. So here is what it all comes down to. Your dog is not asking for perfection. They are asking for consistency. They are asking for clarity. They are asking for the kind of presence that says, without words, I see you, I am here, and nothing about us is going to suddenly change. The beautiful thing about dogs, the thing that makes them unlike almost any other relationship in human life, is that they are extraordinarily forgiving. They live in the moment, and they do not hold grudges. Every single day is a fresh start. Every moment is an opportunity to choose to be the person your dog already believes you are. You do not need to overhaul your entire life. You just need to start noticing. Start noticing when the rules have slipped. Start noticing when you are in the room but not really there. Start noticing when your dog is trying to connect and you are too distracted to receive it. Start catching them doing things right, and tell them so. Start walking. Start putting the phone down. Start letting your dog feel like they live with a partner, not just a provider, because at the end of the day, your dog's entire world is you. Make that world feel safe. Make it feel consistent. Make it feel full of quiet, honest moments of connection. Do that, and you will not just have a well-behaved dog. You will have a truly happy one. And trust me, you will feel the difference too.